One team has already qualified for Munich today, and another one will join after this best-of-3 series between OXG and Shopify Rebellion. Both of these teams have had a good Stage 2 so far, but only one can continue and move on to the international stage, while the other will drop to that lower bracket. I'm Ginny, joined with Foxay and Lax, and we're going to do our best to break this one down, because when we're looking at OXG, besides that first game that they lost at the start of the stage, they haven't lost anything else. But then Shopify, it's been a little bit of a tumbling towards the playoffs. Yesterday, they did quite well, so this should be a pretty equal matchup.
Yeah, they've honestly swapped positions in how they were during Stage 1. I mean, OXG has looked absolutely phenomenal, specifically on their entry. As for Shopify Rebellion, had a rough stage, but so far in playoffs, I mean, it looks like the teamwork for them has really been gelling and synchronizing as well as OXG.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start things off with OXG specifically, because this is the roster that, you know, right now, it just really feels like everything is clicking and working from them, and that wasn't necessarily what we were saying about them in Stage 1.
No, definitely not. And the fact that they've made this much of a stride this early on with this a little amount of time together really is speaking into existence how well this Oxygen roster has. And what we've touched up on time and time again throughout this stage is the core fundamentals of their attacks. That's where they struggled the absolute most, and that's where we saw problem after problem. But with the change of Forrest, kind of moving to a more flex IGL, alleviating himself from that shield, allowing Gomez and Adam to play those entries, and then having Yaga on the other side kind of be that default cutoff and be able to grab those kills along with Grixer. It's really paid dividends of how well Oxygen has been playing.
Yeah, and it's not like OXG just like woke up one day and everything was working and it was all great. It felt like this organization as a whole has gone through a lot of different iterations over time to be able to find this successful formula.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're definitely restoring value to this brand and the name behind it. I mean, when you look all the way back at all the roster changes that have been made, this one definitely sticks out the most. And to even highlight what Fox even said last stage is, Oxygen has made change after change after change with players. It was time to start making the change with the staff, and I think that's where we really started to see Oxygen come alive, with not just picking up these phenomenal 5, but also getting Kizzy and Cap on the roster, being able to make this a much more well-rounded unit. And because of this, we are seeing an entire new look of what Oxygen can look like. When I first saw these 5 players even get together, there was questions in my head. Is this going to be a good team? Is this going to be the roster that is going to make the name for themselves? And it absolutely has been delivering. Like I said, from their first stage to this stage, everything has been going on the up and up, and I don't see it tapering off here going into playoffs.
Yeah, and it's not just the fact that this is working out very well for them as a whole, it's also individually. Now that everything has fallen into place, every player has the opportunity to shine and be the best version of themselves on this roster too.
Which I think that's another main key takeaway is from Stage 1, we talked about Grixer, and we've talked about Grixer throughout his time, throughout his career in Siege, whether that was on Sonics, whether that's been in this early iteration of Oxygen. But now we're seeing players like Adam who are really stepping up their performance. And again, when you look at Adam's first stage to his next stage, and it's obviously off a proprietor of everyone on Oxygen just stepping up, finding these new core fundamentals and strats and how to approach Siege and their new style that they're adopting, it is really ramping up Adam's performance. If you're going to talk about Oxygen, you have to mention Adam. I mean, since he even came into the league on that wildcard roster back with historic names like Merc, Bolo subbed in for a game. I mean, Adam's performance, he's been such a well-developed player. It's been fun watching his journey. When you look at his last stage, obviously there were highs and lows. He was ranked the 29th highest player. They still qualified, remember. They still qualified for WC. They still went there. But then you look at this stage, and there's not even a single dip. It's always on an uphill trend. He had one really pop-off performance, but then it just went right back to coasting up, and it just is slightly going higher, jumping into playoffs. So again, if you're going to mention Oxygen, Adam has to be at the forefront, given how well his performance has been, given how consistent he's been as a player, and he's been leading Oxygen very heavy-handedly, to say the least.
And when you look at his history of being a player, he's always been on that secondary support role, the Hibana. So when he joined OXG, the question arose that who's going to be entering us alongside Gomez? Because Gomez is more of a secondary entry. So Adam to not only have the opportunity to join OXG, but have the chance to develop as an entry player, to be that primary entry. And he's only found success on it as OXG has gotten better and better. And now he has the confidence to be able to back him and his efforts.
question is it going to be enough to go up against Shopify? Because Shopify as a team, again, when we're looking at this roster, very much star-studded, having pop-off individuals every single time. It doesn't matter who you look at. They all have that opportunity to shine.
They do. The biggest issue with Shopify Rebellion this stage, and when we talked to Canadian, was the fact that sometimes they're put in positions where you have such talented players that are going to go for these big individual plays that you overlook the strategy. You overlook on trusting the call from Canadian. But that's not what we saw in their match yesterday against Dark Zero, where it looks like Shopify has really been playing very calculated as a team, not only as well as a team, but Spoit and Surf specifically on both ends, the front and the back, have been moving mountains for Shopify Rebellion with the opening kills. And that was something that they were struggling to be able to get in the regular stage, and they've hammered the nail down on that to be able to get those opening kills and have the big plays when they're put in positions to need to have a clutch, to need to have a 1vx. They find that success, and the opening kills is what carried them into that Dark Zero game.
Yeah, that's kind of like the opposite of what we saw them have when it was OXG, because it was the entries that was their biggest struggle.
Yeah, well, they played OXG during this stage, and that was their biggest issue. You can see OXG was just constantly getting picks against them, finding openings on a map like Labs, which is very difficult to attack on, but OXG made it look very good. But in the transition to yesterday's game on Labs that we saw against Dark Zero, and the whole series was Shopify constantly managing the tempo of the other team that they were playing, getting those opening kills, and then slowing down, focusing on the execute. And once that execute needed to go, that's when we would see the big plays from Spoit and Surf. But the opening kills was managed so well from them, and it was a drastic night and day difference. So yes, OXG beat them during the regular stage, and as you can see, the 7-5 victory. In that victory for OXG, Shopify only got 2 opening kills out of 12 rounds, which is insane that they kept it 7-5 with only getting 2 opening kills. And you can see Spoit and Surf both had a rough game. But in yesterday's matchup against Dark Zero, you can see that they were running the train on being able to get those opening kills and continuously have that advantage against Dark Zero. So if they can keep that level of momentum up going into this game against OXG, it'll be very difficult for OXG to manage that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you highlight, the spearhead and then the back line of both Spoit and Surf being able to find success. But even talking to Troy yesterday, I mean, Troy was having a really good game yesterday. Definitely by far the best that we've seen from back-to-back games coming out of him. And him just talking about, playing 1v1s against his teammates, being able to up his mechanics, feel more comfortable, not only in his role as an IGL, but being able to frag. And we've talked about this as well. Troy being able to find success in rounds, not just being vocal, but also being able to contribute to the kill department, is only going to make Shopify that much even stronger than what we've seen before. And the fact that we've also hit the nail on the head here, that if you're going to have problems in the beginning of the stage, it's important to fix them at the very end. And that is where we're seeing Shopify Rebellion really start to come alive here, is they were struggling through attacks throughout their entire stage. And now it seems like after that game versus DZ, after talking to Troy, everyone is on the exact same page. So this is not going to be an easy game for Auction. It's not going to be the exact replicant of what they played on Night Haven Labs. They're going to have to be far more prepared on their defensive halves, especially in those opening engagements.
Granted, the Shopify that we saw yesterday shows up today, because again, something that we've also seen with this roster is a little bit of inconsistency here and there. So I'm going to hold my horses a little, because I also would first like to know the maps that we're going to be going to, considering again that that's something that we touched upon yesterday, where it was like, yeah, maps, what's the most comfortable one for Shopify?
Cafe. Cafe is a really good map for Shopify. That being said, OXG, I mean, they are comfortable playing this map. I know one of the big things that we talked about is Forest being pretty much the make or break when it comes to this map, not overextending on the shields. That's something that we've seen OXG kind of revert from, not using those shields.
We haven't seen the new Cafe.
We haven't seen them do it without Forest being that make or break factor. But Shopify is going to a safe haven because that is a good map for them. They won it yesterday, so it's something that they're going to look forward to. And then we're going to find ourselves on Border, which I would say it's more OXG favorite in my opinion.
I was going to say, I mean, both maps heavily favor the other team. I think Shopify Rebellion did a great job getting Cafe in their favor. And then for the side of Oxygen, being able to get Border on their side, I think it's going to be a very good, comfortable map for them. I mean, we saw how well they played against SSG. That's where we saw that dynamic shift from Oxygen and allowing Forrest to more flourish in his IGL role, and which allowing Gomez and Adam to lead the charge at that forefront. So for me, that's going to be a very good match to watch. I think this is still, I mean, I know we called it that it was a 2-0. This should have been a 2-0 the first game. I think we can see a 2-0 from both these teams coming out of here and not pushing it to a map 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it goes to Lair, honestly, I could see OXG winning it, just because Shopify Rebellion has looked so choppy when it comes to Lair, especially with them almost losing to Envy. Every team that they play on it, it's always a back and forth. That being said, if we see the Shopify that we saw yesterday, I'd assume that they 2-0. So in my opinion, I think Shopify should realistically be able to win it in a 2-0.
Yeah, you guys said that about last series too.
We did.
Like,
honestly, SSG should have closed it. SSG
so
threw a couple of those rounds on Clubhouse. I'm like, call it like it
SSG
is.
should have won it.
They should.
I predicted SSG.
You did.
Yeah.
He did.
You predicted OXG. So far, your predictions have been pretty...
No, I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap to Shopify.
Are you sticking with Shopify?
Yeah, because listen, if we go on the trend that M80 didn't face adversity of losing up until their final game, OXG only lost their first matchup. Shopify is warmed up. They have the pressure on their shoulders, but they can succeed with it. They've been through that gauntlet before. OXG, on the other hand, this is their first time really having this much of a run. Will they have the consistency for it?
We're going to have to find out. Winner of this best of 3 is going to be heading over towards SSG. They're going to be playing the upper final later this evening. But first, this is the hurdle that they need to overcome as we're ready to head into our first map of the series, Cafe, with Intero and Jesse.
Well, we've already had one surprise today in regards to the Titans getting toppled by, I believe in the biblical sense, his name was David. Versus Goliath. Now we have a slightly smaller Goliath going up against a slightly smaller David, and will the same thing happen? On the line here, Jesse, is our second spot for the Munich Major. Earlier today, we saw SSG overpower the first place team of M80. Now OXG enters after a bye, going up against a Shopify Rebellion squad that definitely showed some areas of improvement in yesterday's matches. Do you think we can see another surprise? Do you think Shopify Rebellion has what it takes to pull it off? Or is OXG just going to be as cool as a cucumber and skate their way to the second spot?
Parker, I'm expecting a game to be just as close as the last one. I don't think it's going to be easy to call who wins this one. We saw it. You said it. Game 1, M80 were undefeated. They still managed to fall. They still suffered their first loss. OXG, not technically undefeated, but they haven't lost since the very first playday of groups. They are on an 8-game win streak since then, so they'll be a tough opponent no matter what version of Shopify Rebellion do show up. The community still thinks the Rebellion will win. They've certainly got the experience that some of the players on OXG do not quite have, but I gotta tell you, Parker, the way that this team has been playing, and especially the way Adam has been playing, it's not going to be such an easy task for the Rebellion. We'll get right into Cafe. We have 3 brand new maps compared to our last series in this game, and if you look at operator bans, we're expecting to see an Azami for sure, but it gets paired with a Pulse, which is a little bit interesting to see. You don't see that very often on a map like Cafe. On attack, it's going to be the Dokkaebi and the Yin, 2 common targets on Cafe.
Jesse, remind me again, which side bans defenders?
The attackers ban defenders.
So OXG banned Pulse.
Yes.
Shopify Rebellion has a particular player on their roster who really loves to play Pulse. Do you happen to know his name?
That would be Ambi. No, of course, that is Canadian, Parker.
So maybe our second Pulse ban of the day, because there was a Pulse ban on map 1, if you recall correctly. Or was it Consulate? Maybe it was map 2, but either way, in our match 1, there was a Pulse ban. And that's because Pulse saw a small change in the offseason. So there was the introduction a couple operations ago of a new machine pistol, a sidearm called the Reaper MK2. It is a small little machine pistol that functions kind of the same as the SMG-11, the SMG-12, the C75, etc. It has made certain operators more viable, as it was given to more operators at the beginning of Operation High Stakes. One of those operators was Pulse. Pulse has 2 kind of bad guns. That shotgun shoots Nerf darts, and the UMP is fine, but it's nothing particularly special. The cardiac sensor on Pulse is exceptionally strong and is one of the best intel tools of anything available for the defenders. When you introduce a new sidearm and you allow a Pulse to run a shotgun, you open up new opportunities. And as we saw in a previous match on Consulate between SSG and M80, even if you don't have a nitro cell, that shotgun can shoot through the floor and kill a defuse plant as it's happening above you, giving Canadians prominence and appreciation of that operator. It doesn't surprise me that OXG would get rid of him. He is a great operator that his cardiac sensor goes quite far. He can sit on the floor below you. He can sit far away, and it allows Canadian a tool to get the most out of his players. And he will need to get the most out of his players today, as they will have their hands full against the second best team in the league.
Canadian did play Pulse on this very bomb site yesterday in their game against Dark Zero, but has to move over to the Sentry instead this time around. Getting ready for an execute, it seems. The Sens walls are open and Gomez is in. He's trying to melee the castle, but he's not quite as prepped as he had hoped, so he's just going to keep going deeper. Here's the first fight. Loses it to Ambi. A couple of missed shots. Rare from Gomez. It's going to be a two-man advantage now to Shopify Rebellion, as Yaga had also fallen. Didn't seem like a full commit to that push, Parker, and I guess with a minute 30, they didn't have to full commit, but something's got to go their way soon.
Canadian takes out Grixer. It seems like everybody's getting in on the action. Spoit and Surf, the only two players from the Rebellion, held off of the score sheet. Still time for them to get a team ace. Don't see team aces much these days. Forrest and Adam now will have to combine together to find the first pick for OXG. Shopify Rebellion has taken a bunch of damage, but not enough to kill any of the players. You see Spoit and will airstrips through him. Down goes Adam at the hands of Surf. Now Spoit just needs the final kill for a team ace. No, Ambi will get it. 2 for Ambi, 0 for Spoit. That's okay, whatever. Shopify Rebellion still get the first round. I don't think they're tracking stuff like that. I don't think they particularly care. The fact that Shopify Rebellion was able to start off so dominantly from a fragging perspective is excellent, because you saw the issues very clearly yesterday in their game against Dark Zero. It took quite some time for Surf, Rexen, and Ambi to all start finding kills. You're going to have a tough matchup. Adam has been one of the best players in NA this entire stage, the first player to break 100 kills in the league. And if OXG can get their offense going, Shopify Rebellion's fraggers will have their hands full.
Bit of a strange first round from Oxygen. Didn't quite get that push going, I think, in the way that they wanted it to. We haven't seen Forrest play Sens on this bomb site before, at least not this stage in the games that they have played it. We did see a round where Adam was jumping on the Sens a little while ago, but kind of rare to see that operator be coming out from OXG on that site. It's good answers from the Rebellion to be quite aware of where those players were coming in. I do think if a couple of shots go another direction, then maybe that push works out for OXG, but not to be in round one. It has been very much a trend so far in these playoffs that the team that starts off winning the first couple rounds does not always lock in and win the next couple. Space Station in particular have been struggling in the early couple rounds, but has still managed to win all of their series so far, and of course, grabbed that first major spot just a little while ago. OXG and Shopify now fighting for the second, and we'll go down to Kitchen for their second bomb site, which has been a site that so far SR have felt relatively comfortable on. It's been relatively rare from them. They don't play a lot of Kitchen, but when they do play this bomb site, they tend to win it.
We'll likely see, well, all new maps, because there's no repeats in here, Jesse. So the 3 that were played between M80 and Space Station will not emerge. It really does depend what happens in our third match of the day, which will come after this. The winner of M80 Space Station and the winner of OXG and Shopify Rebellion will do battle in our final match of the day to see which one goes to the grand finals of Stage 2. Space Station won Stage 1, if you will recall, from quite a nice run through the lower bracket. They don't have such adversity this time. If they lose the upper bracket final, then down to the lower they will go, but they are in an excellent spot and are 2 maps away from making the grand finals. The winner of this match clinches, though clutch I suppose does work. Second spot for the Munich Major. There are 2 more spots on the line. Wildcard and Dark Zero are patiently awaiting their opponents for tomorrow's games. The loser of this match will play Wildcard, where the winner of that game will clinch a spot to the Major. So, oh my. They're going to be watching quite eagerly. Rexen's having a great round. 2 kills to start things off. Down he goes at the hands of Gomez. OXG is on the board. They are desperate for kills.
It's a Valkyrie cam from Ambi that enabled Rexen to walk up the brown stairs, get those 2 kills inside of Pillar, and now it's a really tough push from Oxygen. Didn't expect those Valk cams to be there, didn't expect to get punished so hard. They'll group up on white stairs, but Ambi is still here. Toxic Babes and Nitro Cells means it's impossible to clear. You could maybe sprint into Freezer, but what do you even do if you get that far? not an easy task. A Goyo canister lies in wait too. Ambi tries to shoot that while full blind and does hit the mark. So it is stall after stall from OXG. They'll now hit the site.
Oh my goodness, 3 of them now pushing their way through Freezer. Yaga patiently waiting for his gun to recharge as they juggle the defuse kit. All of the gas has now been expended by Surf, and they found very little for it. OXG suffering early at the hands of Rexen, but since then it's been a bit of a stalemate, a ceasefire between these teams, but it will be broken as Spoit and Ambi get on the board, and OXG's push through the Freezer will be frozen in its tracks. Grixer having to moonwalk his way out of his position, takes down Ambi, but runs out of time, and the Rebellion will go up 2-0.
Beautiful little round from SR, and one that every single player has to contribute to. Again, it's that Valkyrie cam from Ambi that provides the initial information for Rexen to get aggressive. It's Canadian, who is, of course, using those Valkyrie cameras, calling for Rexen to make the moves. Surf's got some great toxic babes that stall out the final 3v4 push. Spoit's got some long angles. It's a full team effort, and it really does feel like Shopify Rebellion are looking so comfortable on this map of Cafe. You and I casted that ridiculous game from Surf in the group stage, and then yesterday, Surf had a big Cafe map as well. Definitely feels like this is one of his best maps that we've seen him play. Not been an individually crazy game so far, but I'm sure it's coming. Shopify Rebellion 5-0 when playing Cafe this season, with victories over Envy, Wildcard, Space Station, Cloud9, and of course Dark Zero yesterday. So they should be expecting to win this map. You might be surprised seeing them start on the defense, but Oxygen actually chose to start attacking side on this map, which is not what you'd often expect, but I think maybe just hoping to wake themselves up a little bit. I know some teams prefer to start attack on big games like this just because they feel it gets them more into the game than when they have to start on defense and can sometimes start a little sluggish.
That's what Team Liquid actually said when we interviewed them quite some time ago. They said, even if it's the worst side, we prefer to be more active. It keeps us engaged and allows us to feel out how we're playing. I think most teams would agree that attacking is significantly more challenging than defending, and based on success rates of both sides, and given that basically all but 1 or 2 maps are consistently defender-sided, the numbers, the mathology of it would actually line up. So even if you do only win 2 rounds as attackers, you can get a pretty good grasp on how you're playing and coordinating as a team. Shopify Rebellion's been doing an excellent job on these early engagements. They'll lose Spoit after taking down Forest, so the leader of OXG is in the ground. Gomez will die early again too. He was able to get that first pick for OXG in the previous round to keep things close, but OXG will now rely on their traditional fraggers, of which all 3 are still alive, yet through this 3rd round, only have 1 kill between them. Make that 0 now as Adam kills Grixer. Down goes Adam at the hands of Surf as he tries to swing through the window, and OXG is imploding in front of our very eyes. These have been 3 dreadful rounds for Oxygen. A terrible start, and we saw some rough starts in that SSG versus M80 game, and this one might just be worse. Shopify Rebellion, a very different team from what we saw do battle against Dark Zero yesterday. They complete a perfect rotation on Cafe, and OXG have nothing.
If somebody can get word to the Oxygen head offices that the game actually did start about 10 minutes ago, that would be important to get their way. Not sure if they've realized at this point. Weird push again, kind of coming through. Forest all by himself, the captain and IGL down below the site on a buck, cleaned up by Canadian. Bit of a weird opening death, and then another player dying just inside a train. They're quite fast into the map, and it does feel like SR are reading them quite cleanly. Whether that means fighting them early and taking that man advantage as they did in round 3, or whether that means giving them the space and flanking later as they did in round 2. They have different ways to deal with OXG taking map control, but no matter what the plan is, it feels like SR are always coming out on top. Adam, ignoring the team kill from last round, yet to find a kill in this series. He has been by far the MVP on the team of OXG, and not just on their team, but in the stage so far. He has been so damn good for this squad, leading in nearly every category you can name. He will need to be firing if OXG have a chance of winning this game.
One thing I said towards the tail end of my cast yesterday with Lynx was that no matter what maps they go to, if Nighthaven Labs, Chalet, or Cafe Dostoevsky pop up OXG will be licking their chops because there were some pretty obvious mistakes committed by the Rebellion on all 3 of those maps. Win or lose, they definitely showed issues that can't always be fixed within the span of 24 hours. Actually, less than 24 hours, technically, because Cafe was the decider that finished around 7:30 Eastern, and we're starting this map at 5 o'clock, so 22 hours, give or take. I know that Shopify Rebellion will play until the very early hours of the morning to make sure that stuff gets done, and with a late start, you can go to bed a little bit later, but still, these are issues that can be nagging, that take longer than just a day or two. Shopify Rebellion obviously won the series against Dark Zero on this map, 7-5, but did so with mixed results. And the comment that I made really does ring true. OXG would see that Cafe or potentially see the Chalet or see the Nighthaven Labs matches and go, okay, this is really easy for us to diagnose the problems and figure out how best to solve them. It took Shopify Rebellion 5 rounds to get 3 victories on this map yesterday. They've now accomplished that in 3. And it was back and forth with DZ for quite some time. It actually wasn't until Shopify Rebellion went on to attack that we saw them flourish. They have matched their total against DZ already from yesterday, today, as defenders. That is quite quick. And OXG doesn't seem to be handling this Rebellion defense all that well. To their credit, they have changed things up on the side of SR. They are running with operators that they did not play much yesterday. Aruni came out a couple times by Ambi. Wamai only came out a single time. Castle only came out a single time. So we are seeing changes. It's keeping OXG on their toes, and OXG's obviously having problems troubleshooting this in the NAL.
This is basically the exact same lineup though that they ran top floor specifically in yesterday's game against Dark Zero. The only difference being Surf on the Castle instead of the Azami, as Azami's bans this time. Canadian continue to play down to the bottom floor. Again, not a huge surprise. He loves to play this spot, but still finding success. The whole team is battling top floor though, and that's not going as well for SR. Ambi and Spoit have been left alone here now, and they're the only ones left to stop this 3v2 push.
Yeah, things have collapsed in a hurry, but there you go. Ambi taking out Yaga. Ambi might have had a slow day yesterday, and honestly, slow stage 2, but we know what he's capable of. One creeping up on Spoit from behind it, but both the sights are turned in the same direction. Ambi cannot lose focus on the other. Gridlock slaughtering Spoit, and there's Adam doing what Adam does. There's a reason why he's been the top player on OXG all stage, sitting at, prepare yourself, a plus 46 KD. There are players in this league who don't even have 46 kills, and he is plus 46. When that man is on, he's on, and he was on that round for sure. First good look for OXG as they take this top floor attack after a strong entry and a great late round.
Yeah, that's the Adam that we've been missing, and it kind of comes off of that initial kill from Canadian down on the bottom floor. You know, Troy gets a kill downstairs, and you're thinking, okay, great, opening pick for Shopify Rebellion. We're feeling fantastic. But as soon as Canadian gets that frag, the call gets made. There's a guy in the bottom floor. I mean, let's just go hit the site. By the time that was happening, Adam was already repelled into Cigar. He was dropping the red stairs, pushing in through bar. He had his teammates behind him, Gomez down below, Yogg making space inside Cocktail on the Blackbeard. So really was a 3-2-1 go based off of that initial kill that Canadian got on the bottom floor. And OXG were able to play really well together. Of course, Adam, the star of that, getting 3 big kills, but everybody providing pressure from different angles was, I think, the key point there from Oxygen. And so having that teamwork is going to be massive. They want to be able to bring this one back to a 3-3 half, win it on their defenses. They knew they were starting on the tougher side of the 2, so even if they only get 2 rounds, I think they won't be feeling too bad about themselves. Very much still in this game despite the 0-3 start.
Still time for OXG to wake themselves up. A best of 3 is a long road, and this is not their map choice. They were comfortable going here, likely, again, because they saw what happened in yesterday's game, so why not go to it? Heavy Dostoevsky, to their credit, was played by OXG at the very start of Stage 1 against Team Cruelty, but, I mean, most teams demolished Team Cruelty, so what is there to have been learned from that match? Not very much. Oxygen off to a good start here, though. 50 seconds in, they've lost Gomez, they've killed Rexon and Surf. lost the Goyo, you've lost the smoke. That's a great entry point for OXG, but now that Adam is down, things will get significantly tougher. And I imagine the action will cool off a little bit, as a minute is off of the clock, and both teams now sit in a 3v3.
3v2 now. Canadian, the captain will fall. Yaga's able to find that pick, and Grixer can smell the bomb site. He can go in, but he doesn't have the defuse kit. It was dropped a little while earlier. Now he will find it. It's already in the kit waiting for him, and he starts the plant. Spoit and Ambi, were they aware of this going down, or are they just trying to play retakes? They got to win their fights first, but they can't. Yaga kills Spoit, and it is Ambi alone in the 1v3 turned 1v2. Then he dies.
1v0. 2v0.
2v0, yeah.
Is Forrest from Arizona, by the way? He has an Arizona Cardinals flag next to his bed. I mean, you're the location guy.
I'm literally so glad you asked, because both Forrest and Grixer are from Tucson, Arizona, the support duo on OXG. By pure happenstance, happen to be growing up in the same town. And there was actually a great video put out on the R6 YouTube channel interviewing Forrest in his hometown. And he credited the fact that Tucson has really nothing to do with the fact that he got so into gaming and Siege and really started his career.
Good to know. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
You don't hear about pros being from Arizona all that much. I mean, as a Canadian, we hear an awful lot about America. And Arizona has become very important as a growing state, and Phoenix is a growing city in that Sun Belt. But still, I mean, as Canadians, I suppose the most we hear about it is the troubles with the Phoenix Coyotes, the old team that they used to have that's now moved to Salt Lake City. So nice to see that there's players from all over. 2 rounds in a row from OXG. They called their timeout. They seem to have settled things down. They are fragging a lot better. Shopify Rebellion still with great kill totals despite the results. Both of those rounds won by OXG, but really coming down to just a couple players still alive. I guess that's the type of news that keeps you in good spirits. If you're the Rebellion, you're not getting blown out on these rounds, and that's what's important. Even if you are losing, it's still really close, and it gives you a bit more confidence.
We'll get to see their attack soon, too, and SR actually a very good attacking Cafe team. That might be why OXG chose to start attack themselves and delay the inevitable, but the Rebellion can be quite good attacking on this map. 75% win rate this stage. We'll get to that after this round, though. A lot of pressure down below from Oxygen. They've taken solid control of the first floor. Canadian is not there this time. Of course, with the bomb site on the mid floor, Canadian will just sit in sight on the Echo. Top floor is going to be the goal to take next, though, and that's going to be a lot more difficult. Adam is top red, and you've got some players over here towards the cocktail windows, but clearing out guys like Ambi, guys like Surf is going to be a real problem for you, and unless you can get these guys off the field, it's not going to be easy to go for an execute.
There goes Adam. There goes Yaga. Shopify Rebellion get 2 kills very, very quickly. Gomez, as he did a couple rounds ago, try to keep these numbers close. He's found Spoit. Spoit had a great day yesterday. He cooled off in that third map, but the rest of the team took up charge. And, well, one man can't be relied upon for all 3 maps, I suppose. OXG now, half of the round to figure out how they get to the floor below them. They have complete and uncontested control of the top floor. There's Yokai drones in play. Canadian will pilot those. And now intel will be done from Sam cams on an operator not seen all that often. That's 0 in the hands of Grixer. And they've assessed what is below, but now the troubling thing is getting to that point. That Kite Electroclaw still persists, even though Spoit does not. It'll make it a bit more challenging for them to open up the hatch over top of Train.
And this is why Zero is not that popular of an operator. He's not that good. He can't clear out the claw, and now Surf takes out Grixer, so won't have the opportunity to do so. They really wanted to get that Train hatch open, Parker, but it's not going to be possible at this point unless they did get it with the nade. Okay, they did with the nade. So Sen's Walls goes down. Very worried about a flank, but 30 seconds, you can't worry about it for too long. You've got to find some way to push into sight.
Got to go in blind, you got to go in direct, hit the site head on. Gomez and Forrest understand the mission. They'll work together now. Inside of mining, they found one of the 4 players over towards Pillar, but there are 3 unaccounted for. You got cams to deal with, you got Yokai drones. Forrest can hear it, but he's running out of time. Gomez drops, and there's Surf and Rexon collecting the final 2 kills. Lickety split. A good comeback from OXG that could have tied things up But Shopify Rebellion exit the first half with 4 rounds, defending on Cafe. Not bad. It beats their number from yesterday when they were only able to muster 3 rounds defending against Dark Zero. Cafe, one of the more played maps in the region through the group stages. It's effectively a coin flip map. So getting 4-2 is not outside of the norm. OXG will have to do the same or better, lest they get defeated in regulation.
Absolutely. And I really do want to compliment Shopify Rebellion's patience in that final defensive round. You know, they saw the Sens walls coming down through the train hatch. They were aware that it was blocking off from Fireplace, and they might have overreacted to that, jumped into train, got worried about where the plant could have been going down, but they simply stayed patient. They had Yokais being controlled from Canadian in the basement. They had Surf on red stairs. They had a guy pillar. They had a guy in the hallway. Every angle they could have wanted was being held. So really just feels like textbook defensive play from Shopify Rebellion. And now, up against OXG, they'll swap over to attack, which, as I mentioned, they've got a 75% win rate attacking this map through 12 rounds this stage. They've been very proficient attacking this site, really only struggling on the top floor a little bit and on reading a little bit. Bottom floor and mining, dining, they have been extremely strong with. So Auction will know those percentages, and they will head to the top floor for their first defensive round. Again, bit interesting when you look at the operator bans coming through. Aruni will be an Adam-specific target ban. Going back at least to the summer, Adam has played every single Cafe top floor defense on Aruni. I've got 6 rounds in my data set here where he has exclusively played that operator. Removing it from the board forces him to play something else. He'll go for the Tuberau this time, and then the castle being removed as well. Just a strong operator generally on Cafe. We see Yaga run that op every now and again, but very cool to see the Aruni being targeted. That's a direct focus on OXG's best player.
Attacker's objective is to defuse
It's the same bans from yesterday, by the way. Shopify Rebellion banned the Aruni, the castle, and then in the third ban took a Tuberau out. So it's not just a direct ban towards the players. It also just could be comfort levels right here, Jesse. So
yeah.
When Shopify Rebellion had to attack, they were told no to Blitz and Ying. That's not what OXG is going to do. OXG takes out Monty and Ace, which are operators that, if you go back and look at that particular set of attacks, were used sporadically. Monty was played by Canadian twice, first on attacking the top floor and then attacking Fireplace and mining, and Ace was used by Rexin twice and once by Spoit, all on 3 separate bomb sites. So these could simply be comfort bans from OXG unless they think that, hey, if those were particularly weak rounds, if we take out the Monty and the Ace on already weak rounds that were won by the Rebellion, maybe that might give us the leg up and we can deal with whatever else they bring us. This, of course, would require us to talk to the coaches and get better information, which we sadly are not able to do. So speculation it is.
Be a great topic for an interview, but that's quite a ways away. Still first map of a best of 3 here. Good droning being done by the Rebellion, but haven't found a whole lot yet. Adam, despite his op being gone, the DMR is still there, and he does take down Spoit for the opening pick on the second half. Rexon finds one back on a Gomez, but trades just keep on returning. It's going to be man advantage again for Oxygen. Force actually way down to the bottom floor, causing some chaos. Adam with a Nitro Cell, and it's all falling apart for SR. Ambient Surf, the last alive, trying to do something from down below the site. Very disconnected are these last 2 players. They got to find some way to group up and take these kills, but nothing is being given to them.
Cafe can become a fortress really quickly, Jesse, and Surf and Ambi know that very well. OXG just needs to stand pat and wait out the next minute. Neither player on the Rebellion have access to the defuse kit, so that complicates matters a little bit. Utility in the hands of Capitao, not so much on the side of Ambi. He's used his EE1Ds, he's used his grenades, and now he's used up his lifeline. He's gone. Surf trades, but Grixer gets him with a Nitro Cell. And OXG win their very first round on defense, narrowing the gap between the 2 teams to 1.
Now we're starting to see that competitive game we were hoping for. OXG battling back after that early deficit. It was an interview with Foxay where Grixer first called his team, and I quote, a bunch of clowns, and talked about how good the vibes are on Oxygen. They're always laughing, they're always joking, even if they're getting clutched on, even if they're losing really tough games. The vibes always seem to be up on that team, and I wonder for Grixer, who has played the majority of his career on the Shopify Rebellion / Sonics team, if that's maybe a bit of a departure. Not that Sonic/SR wasn't a good vibe, but I feel like there's less pressure on a team like Oxygen, who have lower org expectations, who have lower, maybe slightly worse history behind them. It's just a newer team. Can relax a little bit more, and that can result in a little bit more success on the server sometimes too.
I don't think anybody expected to see this match go quietly into the good night. I didn't expect that in our very first series of the day, and I certainly don't expect it in the matchup that will follow. Space Station is sitting and waiting, watching OXG and Shopify Rebellion do battle, as that next match will obviously be for a spot in the Stage 2 Grand Finals. SSG with a golden opportunity to go back-to-back, but we won't know and have a conclusion on the entire stage until Sunday, I believe, is our last day of action. Both of these teams tremendously gifted, and honestly not a huge difference between them. OXG was excellent during the group stage. This stage, Shopify Rebellion were excellent during the group stage in Stage 1, so I think there should be all 3 maps on the board. At least from a competitive perspective, I'm hopeful for that. For those of you that are hoping to go to bed early, I do apologize.
Yeah, we're in for a long night, that's for sure. But when major qualifications on the line, that's what you're hoping for. Bedtime schedules be damned. Good information on that lion charge from Rexon. It caught both Grixer and Gomez. Grixer taking a bit of damage early into this round, but not resulting in a kill just yet. Once again, as always on Cafe, taking this top floor is going to be key, and it's been slow going so far, but they still have a lot of util. Surf with these Capital bolts is going to be probably the main thing you're looking at. Potentially countered by these magnets being tossed by Yaga. There is, I guess, a chance to go in from down below, but given that most of the players are still on the roof, I got to imagine the top clears the call.
There goes Surf. Whoa, my. Yaga looking for another outside, completely detected. Adam has died elsewhere. Surf being gone means no fire, means no smoke. They've got the Wamai trapped in the corner. There's nowhere for him to go except for out in a body bag. Canadian will put him in that and zip it up. He and Ambi just collecting kills. Ambi about to break double digits. By the way, far and away the closest. Next in line is Rexon at 7 kills. The Pulse was not available for Canadian and Co., but Grixer has use of the FBI operator. He and Gomez are the last 2 standing now against Shopify Rebellion, who look to regain their 2-round lead. An upside-down rappel is challenging to deal with. These pros have seen it before. What can Gomez muster now? As Grixer was sitting by the bomb site. 45 seconds left. Gomez droned out, Canadian with diffuser in hand. He begins the planning process as Gomez works his way around pillars, and he'll spot Canadian. At least he'll spot the shield. As there's the Blackbeard charging up on him. Gomez is dead at the hands of Canadian, and Grixer has to do it all himself, but Ambi will shut him down. A great round from the captain and the kid, as Ambi and Canadian collect most of those kills, and the Rebellion's lead goes back to 2.
Yeah, there was a lot going on at different parts of the map in that round. You saw Rexon use the lion charge fighting a guy who's already outside the building and getting hard pinged, but very likely that lion charge was used to help Ambi get his 2nd kill of the round when he cleaned up Forest. So it's nice to see Shopify Rebellion using this util. They might be focused on one part of the map, but then can use util to help the other part of the map. There's a good jump out from Yaga to take down the Capitao. I think that's an extremely high value pick, and he wasted good time and attention too. I got nothing bad to say about that run out, but whilst he was doing that, players were dying on the top floor. Forrest was going down. Gomez was getting tracked as well on that lion scan, and with Adam dying earlier in the round too, it just didn't really work out their way. A lot of credit does have to go to Ambi, who was more or less independent on the top floor for the first 2 frags. So 10-4 to start off his cafe will be very nice. As long as they can get the top number up to a 7, I think he'll be feeling very happy with this performance.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Already a better performance than what they had against Dark Zero yesterday. Dark Zero was supposed to be the weaker opposition, by the way, but the one thing that we kept harping on through all 3 of those best of 3s, well, we being Lynx and I, not you and I, the one thing that we kept harping on was how the guns on Shopify Rebellion had gone quiet. Today, Rexon, Surf, and Ambi are all positive in KD. This is something that we were not able to say through much of those 3 maps yesterday. So, maybe it's OXG's fraggers who are struggling. And indeed, it appears that way. Adam right now sitting at a -2. Yaga sitting at a -3. Gomez at a -3. Grixer even, and Forrest, well, Forrest is going to be playing hard in support most of the time, so I expect him to be towards the bottom of the standings. He and Grixer actually towards the bottom in ratings. All the stats are good across the board from OXG, thanks to a terrific group stage. Not so through map number 1. Grixer with the highest EPS right now at 89. Spoit the lowest on Shopify Rebellion at an 87. Not an ideal spot for OXG, even with how close these scores are. The Rebellion have just been pummeling them in terms of kills.
Slow going at the moment. It's not a full top-down clear like we often see on this bomb site. They are focused over towards Bakery, which means goal number 1 has to be getting the player out of Bake. Grixer's playing this position back behind the counter. But Forrest strikes first, the long angle, exactly what they were hoping for, using these crossfires, and another one to Canadian too. A little over-eager if you're Grixer, but it doesn't matter. His team is still going to be in a massive man advantage. Control is still firmly in their hands too. Ambi might have top floor, but he is not safe from a flank. Adam's just run all the way up red stairs to the top floor. Could get a vert angle, could go towards the train hatch. Just sitting on the staircase now, looking to flank right back down. Ambi will have to be very careful, and in fact, just runs away, not liking those angles. Watch out for the 2 impacts in Adam's pocket too. That could be used to deny the plant.
This gap between these players now could close as we have the final minute here, and Shopify Rebellion are hoping for a slip up. Maybe a small misplay from OXG, but this entire cast is ever so patient. Gomez looked like he was attempting a swing in the hallway. Everybody but Adam currently sitting in the bomb site on the side of Oxygen, so you've got a small challenge now to deal with that top floor control that OXG has yet to give up. There goes Yaga on the bomb site. Does it compel Adam into a position as they hear his footsteps above? Ambi's tracking him, but hasn't found any success yet, as Adam will give him nothing. Running out of time, 15 seconds left. The Rebellion will have to jump into the bomb site and deal with this head on. They're hoping for some noise for Surf to deal with Adam on that top floor. Spoit's found an opportunity to get the plant down. A nice swing from Gomez onto Ambi, and he will also find Spoit as the coverage was just not there. I appreciate what the Rebellion did, trying to find an opening, but there just was no opening to be had at that point. OXG was a brick wall, and you were running into it at full steam. 1 round separates these two. The Rebellion still with the lead, but that gap continues to shrink.
Huge 3K coming through from Gomez that round. He was playing on the Warden, and he got the initial, not the opening pick, but he got the kill into Canadian, who was jumping into small bake on that Blackbeard, and then had the massive kill in through the red hall as well to stop the coverage and stop the plant as well. Gomez turning 23 yesterday, so happy birthday to him. He is the youngest player on Oxygen, and with that birthday will make Oxygen the only team in the league to not have a single player of 22 years or younger on the roster.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Right? They're an old team. Old men on OXG.
Can you not call like 22-year-olds old?
No, I'm calling 23-year-olds old. If you're 22, you're young and spry.
Okay, I was not using that as a literal sense. I was using it in a calling people who are still in their early 20s old makes me, at the age of 35, feel like the oldest man on the planet.
Well, I mean, you will fall over soon and pass
10
beyond,
seconds left
so
before insertion.
you won't feel bad for too long.
5 seconds to go.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, anytime.
Gotta reload. Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Wonder what Lynx is up to. Wonder if Lynx is available for me to cast again. That was a lot of fun yesterday. Really good times. Not many insults, gotta say.
Lynx isn't casting right then. The problem is
All
if you
right.
cast with Intero and you don't throw in some insults, your head gets too big. And then the casting goes down because the number of words, I mean, they just get mixed up in your skull. You kind of lose track of what you're yapping about.
Swapping mags.
Tracks out. Track stingers in play.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks for bringing that. Thanks for dragging us off of this. Thanks for insulting me to the dozens and dozens of people who watch our esport.
Anytime.
You want to analyze what's happening?
Yeah, Parker, they ran to the roof. Early cafe things. It's cafe, you know how it goes. First 60 seconds are top, and Adam a little exposed to the angle that was being held by Spoit. Probably been the quietest player on SR so far this map, but will bring himself up to even with that big kill. Bomb site's just a floor down below. Once again, mining and dining is where we're at, so this top floor is critical to holding things down, and you want to think if you're Auction that you're looking to get a kill back.
Losing your star player who enters the day with Michael Jordan prime numbers is not great. Grixer could be an apt comparison. I think he plays next to a Michael Jordan photo in most of his cams. Hasn't had a working cam for quite some time, so we don't get to see Grixer and his sombrero that he often has on, which brings much delight to the viewers. Shopify Rebellion working away on this top floor now. Ample opportunity to tear through the floor, get a line of sight on whoever might be below. Canadian dies to a Nitro cell from Grixer, who's still very much alive. An Adrenal Surge is used by Rexen. Gives everybody a small top-up as Gomez has died on the side of OXG. Oxygen trailing with a minute to go to sit inside of a site, which is very quickly losing much of its protection thanks to that RAM and all the upstairs control that the Rebellion have right now.
Love to be able to open up more of these hashes, but didn't actually bring any hard breach on this round for SR, so train hatch will remain soft. That was a big focal point a couple of rounds back when OXG were trying to get that with the SAM cams. Gonna have to make a pop in through the window then just work. They've got one more smoke from Surf, they've got Candelas as well, and here's that charge from the Finka. Is this just a fake? Nope, here comes Andy.
And a swing in, firing away. Does he have coverage? This was a major problem for the Rebellion before. It looks to be good. Rexen pushing on up. Surf is in the bomb site, taking no prisoners. Down goes Grixer, a Nitro cell and a fadeaway from Yaga, but it finds nothing. Everybody's still alive. Final Adrenal Surge will give Ambi a bit more HP. It's taken in the hands of Forrest now, who finds another. Hustling with these Rebellion attackers, trying to repel them as best as they can. One outside on the balcony. Yaga cannot hit the shots, though, and Rexen collects both. A real tough spot to be in if you're OXG. The Rebellion move to map point. It's their own map. This is exactly what we've come to expect.
Such a tough site to retake on, right? And you had to expect that the game plan was denying that plant from down below. Ambi didn't plant on the hard floor. You can, inside of mining, sometimes get a plant down just in the corner, which can't get denied from below, but he was firmly on the soft floorboards. And there were even Valkyrie cams inside of mining, but Yaga from down below, for whatever reason, wasn't able to get there in time, wasn't able to launch the Nitro. He had been playing the bottom floor for a very long time, so I think just a misread of the situation, allowing the plant to go down. Really tough to see that when you've also got a Pulse on the board alongside that Valkyrie. Clearly something going wrong in the game plan, and SR exploiting a bit of a gap. That late round push going exactly as they had planned it, so really nice job coming through from them. Shows that even if Canadian dies early, even if you don't have your Blackbeard player, you can still make things happen on the side of Shopify Rebellion, and that speaks to how deep this team is, right? They're not reliant on one individual. That's been the key focal point of this team since its inception. Anybody on this team can make big plays, and if Canadian dies, well, he can still IGL from the grave.
5 seconds left before insertion.
You always have value when you're leading a team, whether you're alive or dead. And I mean, obviously, it's good for you to be alive. But those leadership traits are still there either way. In yesterday's matchup, Canadian had a pretty good game, all things considered. He was only a -2, which is far better than pretty much every other game in the group stage. I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that sincerely. His role is not to get kills. He should be in the negatives because the rest of his team should be getting the kills, not him. Stats were quite good at the end of the game for both Spoit and Surf. They were the only two players on the team who went positive. The rest were about even or just a little bit below. Today, Canadian is right dead even again, 5-5. Rexen and Ambi are having terrific games, so while they were among the two lower-rated players yesterday, they bounced back. Just as we saw in our SSG M80 matchup, there is great depth on all of these rosters. We expect players that when they have a bad day or a bad game to turn that around. If you are consistently bad in the playoffs, you might not find yourself on a playoff team for too much longer. On the side of OXG, Adam well below his numbers. Most of these players on OXG well below these numbers, despite the fact that OXG is only 2 rounds behind the Rebellion. There is not a single positive player on their roster. So when they win, they are barely winning. When they are losing big. That has been the story for OXG here on a map that admittedly is not their own. Things get to be a bit more concerning should the Rebellion win this map. If OXG gets caught flat-footed and starts slow on their map choice of Border, which is up next.
First calls coming through from both the Dokkaebi and the Lion, but not resulting in any kills. They just get out on the side of Oxygen. The Clash wasn't so lucky to get out, and we've got a big chaos going down to the freezer. It's all melees. Nobody's here to help. Everybody else in the server is dealing with their own problems, dying across the map. We'll leave that for a minute.
Are they still going?
Chaos.
Yeah,
They're still
are.
going. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. First, we had the run out. The Ashen run out on Nighthaven Labs, and now we have 2 shields knocking each other about upstairs. Sometimes Rainbow Six Siege is a horror game, sometimes it's a tactical and strategic game, and sometimes it's pure comedy. The Rebellion bounce their first map into the win column. A pretty nice 7-4 to put themselves up 1-0, 1 round away, or 1 map away, rather, from being the second team to qualify for the Munich Major. OXG, a bit of a slow start, but again, not their map. They will have to recover gracefully as Border is on deck for map number 2.
We keep that undefeated Cafe streak alive for SR on this season. 6-0 now. Map 2 was always going to be where OXG had to bounce back, and so they'll get that opportunity right at the other side of these highlights and the desk.
The hallway now, on the hallway door.
Heard
Ready,
that.
3, 2, 1, dropping.
Looking for him.
Still there on the door.
Nice! Pablo!
A convincing win from SR on their own map pick. That's kind of what we hoped and what we were expecting, especially as, you know, OXG, as we already touched upon, it's coming into this a little bit cold. They don't have that game day yet, but now that first map is done and dusted, they need to lock back in.
Yeah, they're now 6-0 on Cafe, but their Cafe was very strong. I think it was definitely a blunder for Oxygen to choose the attacking side instead of starting on that defense. Sure, they did only win 2 defenses, but it would allow them more time to just compile everything together and then resort back to their attacks, where now they're going to have to start attack again, going into Border, where we know that they're strong on. But I mean, the fundamentals that we were seeing Oxygen throughout the stage didn't really look like they were there, and I don't want to say they weren't there, because Shopify Rebellion has also managed to step up their performance, specifically on their attacking half.
I mean, the strength of OXG and why they picked attack first is because of Adam, because of Gomez, the way that they can be elusive on that entry, be able to find their picks, while the rest of the OXG sets up. But Cafe is a very linear map. It's very difficult to find openings in the map, because already, whether you're getting through the hatch or you're jumping in through a window, it's very isolated. There's not many situations where you have room to play with, so to say, and that's why Shopify was doing a really good job at just being very difficult to find, finding out where Adam was going to entry, and once they shut that down, what's OXG's response? They didn't really seem to have one. Now, on a map like Border, there's a lot more aggressive opportunities that you can go for. Starting on attack is obviously a mental game that OXG needs to be able to start off hot on Border, because if they don't get rounds on attack, they're just going to let the mental of them losing Cafe, losing the attacks, hold them back from being able to bring it back on map 2.
Well, what worries me about Border is when you look at Cafe outside of Border, they play similar in some sense of those crossfires, especially on the top floor. It's going to be very relevant once we get to Border, being able to line up those crossfires. You're talking about those engagements. If you're not able to trade off one another, get those opening engagements going in your favor, you are going to struggle here, and that is exactly where Shopify Rebellion did manage to come through here and not be so shaky in terms of what their opening engagements were, and then being able to convert 6 out of those 7 opening engagement rounds. I mean, Shopify Rebellion is doing everything that they've been needing to do from the stage. Now I'm implementing it here, where again, I said Auction really needs to be on top of it on their attacking half to be in order to thwart off these defenses that is going to come from the side of SR.
Yeah, I think a discussion point here already also needs to be the fact that when we're looking at OXG, this is the first best of series that they're playing so far this stage. SR has had that game day yesterday where they looked really dominant as well, but even more further so, OXG hasn't lost anything since that first game at the beginning of the stage. So similar both here to M80, where they don't really no longer know what it's like to lose. So for me, that's also a little bit of a warning sign in terms of like, okay, you've lost this first map that granted wasn't your map pick. How is that going to translate mentally onto Border?
I mean, OXG's always been a very big mental team. They have a good amount of quiet players when it comes to it. Having the energy up is something that they desperately need. So this will be a good testament to how much OXG have really improved, because if they're not facing those losses during the regular stage, they don't have to go through that mental battle of what happens after we lose. Now, comes in the question going into Border is, can they overcome that? Especially, I think it's going to come down to big entry plays. It really has to come down to Adam and Gomez being able to get opening kills, because if they don't, that's the only way that you can get everyone's energy up, is if you have a player who's going insane, getting all those kills, dragging the team's momentum back up. And that's something that we're going to have to see if they can actually accomplish that.
Yeah, and then for SR, I mean, they're sitting quite pretty. They had that win, quite a couple wins under their belt during the final week when we're looking at Super Week during regular stage. They've won the games yesterday when it comes to the best of series against DZ, which was another confidence boost. You win this one. If anything, all the stars are at this point aligning for SR.
They definitely are, and I can understand why Oxygen wants to pick this. It's a comfortable map for them, but even when you look at that Shopify Rebellion match versus Wildcard, they did get that win. A lot of that did come off the backing of Ambi, but that still isn't the same Shopify Rebellion that we're getting now here. Everyone is stepping up. Everyone was positive on the side of the Rebellion. This just isn't the same roster. I think Oxygen, honestly, seeing how that first matchup shaped out, I don't really feel too confident now going into this Border where, again, we saw their sloppy attacks on Cafe. I can't imagine they're going to shapen up too much more than what it is going to be on Border, given how condensed and how constrictive this map is. Like I said, you need to be winning these opening engagements, so we are going to have to see possibly Forest result back to those shields just to create that headway, just to get into the building and take that map control.
In the sense, it does feel like we're kind of being a little doom and gloom when it comes to OXG, but I also kind of want to look at the positive side, because this is a team that has impressed us every step of the way during this stage, and I feel like that's not, like, we can't count them out just yet, even though this first map didn't go their way.
I mean, I think the biggest factor holding them back, same way as M80, is not being warmed up, not having the game day reps and that confidence. I mean, OXG is a huge momentum team. After that first loss, they go undefeated essentially up until playoffs. Now they face their first loss. It's very important for them to be able to use this as a warm-up, not hold on to any of the values that lost them this first map, because they still only lost 7-4, and just go into it having a good time like they are now, obviously smiling. That being said,
maybe it's fake.
What'd you say?
Maybe it's fake smiles.
Yeah, they're fake smiles.
I think I go serious.
Yeah,
Yaga serious.
They're locked in. we absolutely need some big individual players. We need the confidence to shine through OXG.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom and say Oxygen now, because by no means are they. They didn't have this much of a run in the stage to just drop here, and I don't believe that's going to be the case. But I think there are things that they do need to change, going from Cafe, taking from, and being able to implement it here, where I was saying maybe Forrest entering on those shields, being able to find that space, and then allowing Adam and Gomez to find their stride while Grixer and Yaga are playing those cutoffs. I think that's going to be a big thing here. I just think the biggest gamble they took going into the today was starting attack on Cafe.
Yeah, but whether or not OXG is going to be able to flip the script and make this go all the way to the third mapper, we're going to have to wait and see. Or is SR going to be the second team to join SSG in Munich and play in the upper final later today? Let's find out as we're heading over to Border with our casters, Intero and Jesse.
Well, a very different Shopify Rebellion has shown up today than showed up yesterday against Dark Zero, and now it really comes down to how does OXG do on their own map pick? Shopify Rebellion did the job that needed to be done. They won their own pick. Now it's incumbent upon OXG to do the same. Jesse, Border is the scene for what might be the last map between these two, and I'm sure you have some thoughts on this map.
I do, Parker, and I mean, listen, the good news for OXG is that they are off of Cafe, which is a map that Shopify Rebellion are undefeated on. The bad news for OXG is that map 3 in this series will be on Lair, which Shopify Rebellion are also undefeated on. The really bad news for OXG is that they picked Border, which is a map that Shopify Rebellion are undefeated on. Admittedly, Border has a much smaller sample size than the other two maps, and the 2 wins that SR have this season on Border were both 15-round wins over M80 in Stage 1 and Wildcard in Stage 2. So it's not like this is as strong of a map for SR as map 1 or 3 will be, but even still, it's not a map that SR tend to hate. It's not a map that they are bad at by any means. And for Oxygen, it's kind of a rare map to find themselves on. They only have one play recently. That was against SSG almost a month ago, where sure, they won 7-3, but SSG looked like a completely different team a month ago. They've really turned things around. So I'm not sure that was the largest test for Oxygen on this map. There won't be a lot of footage on them here, so they might have been prepping things. And I have to imagine for such a critical game, if this is going to be their map choice, then they have been hard at work preparing this map in the labs. But I gotta say, just from a history standpoint, from a statistical standpoint, it's not the most confidence-inducing map, in my opinion, to go against SR on.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It's an intriguing map choice just across the board. Lots of teams just flat out do not like Border. Despite that, it did end up being one of the most played maps here in the region. If you account for the group stages, it was played for 64 rounds, where if you believe it, you know, we say it's a 50-50 map. This one literally is a 50-50 map. Half of the rounds won by the attackers, the exact same total won by the defenders. So anything goes. The Rebellion had some issues yesterday with their gunners gunning. Today, those guns are ablazing. OXG, we cannot say the same for. Their gunners a little bit flat, and most of the players had numbers underwater in map 1, despite the fact they were able to win 4 rounds. That's usually a bad sign. It means you're winning very, very close rounds, not dominantly, and getting blown out in the rounds you lose, which if you watch the match, is pretty close to what actually happened. OXG need a strong start here. On attack, on their own map, they should be on what is the less than ideal side, as the Rebellion get to choose to defend first. The onslaught will come over towards break room. Ambi watching as that sends walls go, and he just gets siege timinged. They've got full control with him and Spoit inside of security.
Bit unlucky from Ambi, but it's okay. He keeps his life at the very least. Canadians also started to give up East Stairs, backed his way up to offices and now Fountains, so playing closer in with the team. Push isn't coming that direction. It seems like this is going to be an execute in towards lockers, as we most commonly see kind of inside rank than at low levels of competition. I think it's more varied at pro level, but you never know. It's always good to go back to the basics. They do want to clear security first. Sends Wall will assist them in that. They'll start to try to collapse on this one player, just hiding. It's Ambi, but he's still got good util.
Down goes Ambi, so all that he did in the previous round is for naught. Spoit might be channeling the Spoit we saw yesterday. He gets 2 kills. Drops an anvil on the head of OXG down below, but they walk away without that nitro cell doing too much. OXG's got just under a minute to pull off a successful execute. They got that first pick. Yaga will walk the diffuser to the bomb site with Grixer and Gomez to escort him. If Yaga makes it there in time, Spoit finds a triple, a quad kill. Rexon steals that away from him. Spoit will get the 4th, though. There it is, almost an ace for the Swede to start off Border. The Rebellion continue their winning ways. They're up 1-0.
This is part of the problem with Border. It's a map that oftentimes really does come back to individual gun skill. It's a map where sometimes util can play less of a role. Your decision-making can play less of a role. If you can hit your shots, Border is the map for you. And Spoit, well, he can definitely hit his shots. That's for damn sure. You know, he hasn't necessarily been the star of this team like he has been on his previous rosters, both Rogue, Koi, and M80. But one thing about him is that he's been so consistent playing for Shopify Rebellion this stage. You know, you go back to the group stage and every game that they've played, and generally, right, Surf has been the highest rated player on this team. Ambi's been kind of the star entry player who's making a lot of the early moves. Spoit has maybe not been as flashy as some of the other players on SR this stage, but you go back to all the games that they've played, and he's the only one on this team who's dropped below 100 EPS just 3 times. Every other player will have bad games here and there. Maybe they'll have a 90 EPS game, an 80 EPS game, you know, and they might not have the highest rated games. Spoit very rarely goes negative in a matchup, at least when you look at that overall score metric. So it's the consistency, I think, with Spoit that makes him such an amazing player, and then his ability to pop off and have ridiculous rounds like that one just push him over the edge to be one of the best in the world.
123 is EPS yesterday, 123, a plus 15 as well. He was inhuman in the very first map at Nighthaven Labs, dropping 17 kills on Chalet. He was pretty close to that with 13. It wasn't until Cafe where he started to fall off, and then he went just 8 and 8. Adam almost killing Gomez with that nade.
I think
it was a nice toss, I gotta say, but
yeah,
maybe a bit better coordination.
It's all right, no harm, no foul. A lot of harm to Forrest. He just took 99 damage. Just playing still outside the building. Not sure exactly what that was that dealt so much to him, but he's gonna have to regroup with his teammates. Gomez dies now here right next to Yaga. Long angle, easily picked back up, but you gotta look at the HP right now on the side of Oxygen, Parker. There is not a lot left.
Oh, they've already suffered such a blow, and Ambi might die first yet again. He suffered at the hands of OXG back in round 1. Adam will use his second nade, this time successfully. Instead of blowing up his teammate, he decides to blow up an enemy. That's usually a better chance when a shot by Yaga reading into Canadian, and that Bearing 9 is not an easy gun to control. Yaga makes it look so easy. Gomez is down for the count. Forrest still living on borrowed time. The round winnable for the Rebellion, but it'll be a tough slog for them as now they reposition slightly over the bomb site. Surf and Rexon will swap spots. Surf dropping down into the confines of that site. Spoit doing some serious damage to Adam. Down goes Rexon, and now Surf will need to clutch. Not a single kill on Surf's side of things. What tally can he emerge from this round at? Will it still be 0? He's got the Capitao around the corner. Forrest will die from a single pellet of that, but no, Yaga finds his second kill. OXG gets on the board and prevents Shopify Rebellion from going up 2-0. You got to keep this game close. If you're starting on your own map on the wrong side, do not let your opponents run away with it, because if the Rebellion runs away with it, they'll be the second team to clinch a spot at Munich.
And I'm really glad to see Adam starting off so strong on this map. You know, round 2, he's starting to really light up the kill feed. Had that first nade, which again, I think was just purposely used to clear the Goyo. I don't think there was any issues there. The second nade then secures a frag. Then he walks into the building. He shuts down Spoit, who was threatening to go on another tear, playing the same position, very similar op, with that BMR doing the best that he can inside security, but only 5 and 1 to start this game, as he was eventually silenced by Adam. Only 5 and 1.
A very paltry, meager 5 and 1.
What I'm saying is, if Adam's not there, that could easily be 6-0, 7-0, and you're looking at a very different set of futures for OXG, where it doesn't look so bright. But Adam is coming alive. The whole team in that round really working together to collapse in on the players that were up top. Opening kill could be incredibly important on a map like Border, and I think that obviously it's been a big top of conversation for Shopify Rebellion. You know, they really struggled with the entries over the group stage. We're one of the worst opening pick teams in the entire league, actually, and it caused a lot of their problems. But I will say yesterday against Dark Zero, they went positive on all 3 maps on the entries, positive or even. So maybe their problems have been fixed, and we'll have to just find out through this game if those opening pick successes can continue.
Pretty even across the board for OXG, so everybody getting in on the action is a great sign. Everybody was in on the action the previous map for OXG. It's just there wasn't much action for them to get in on.
Yeah.
Right now, 6 kills for the Rebellion through those 2 completed rounds, one of which was a victory. They didn't have much previously. We'll see if that divide continues to grow as we get deeper into this game. And now it's East control for OXG. Where do they go next? 1 minute off the clock.
Should be offices. That's kind of where they're grouped up around right now. Rexon is playing in that position, but Spoit is inside security where he's been the last 2 rounds, so the long angle in the hallway could be dangerous too. Force separated from his teammates, and Ambi threatening another opening depth, just like what he had on the previous round. That would be devastating to his team's chances, but instead they're going to collapse onto these security players. They see Ambi, they see Spoit, and the feet and shot will come through from both. Adam with 2 big kills now, and he's not done, it seems. My God.
This is just absolute domination by OXG at this point. Surf is watching as bullets whiz over top of his head. He's a great shot, and he's really come into his own over the last couple stages, but he has his work cut out for him right now. Adam and Surf, 2 final bosses of their teams through the group stages. Surf will drop, but oh my, a castle barricade as he just dashes his way through and right into the heart of the OXG squad. I don't think he was expecting so many of them to be there. Oxygen takes the lead on their own map. They're off to a much better start than we feared might happen to them in round number 1. Their faces don't really show much joy, and that's okay because there is a job to be done. I don't think they liked the result of that first map. They were hoping for a win, maybe even a closer scoreline, but alas, it is what it is. Now you turn your sights to border, starting on what is presumed to be the weaker side because your opponents chose it for you, and yet OXG have already gained a lead through 3 rounds.
It's an interesting point, actually, Parker, because generally, yes, your opponents will choose their best side and thus put you onto the worst side. But the one time Oxygen played Border this stage, again, about a month ago versus Space Station, they started on attack, they played 6 rounds, and they won 5 of them. So history would suggest that Oxygen are actually a very good attacking team on Border. They went 2-2 on their defenses, which of course totaled to 7 and ended the game right there 7-3. So we have really yet to see what Oxygen's Border defenses look like, but maybe for SR, just thinking that themselves are a better team on defense than attack here, not going as deep into Oxygen's previous results. They might also have some scrim information on how OXG tend to do on attack or defense. So a lot of different possibilities here, but it should be noted that as far as the data that we're working with goes, Oxygen are actually a great team attacking this map. I'm sure that's a big part of the reason why they picked it in their second map here.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I mean, there was limited data as to how these teams would approach Border. It was the first preference of OXG. It gets banned against them 8 times. I mean, you don't end up in this position with, frankly, without being a good team on this map. To my eyes, to means that Layer is our 3rd map, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
And you know what the best thing about Layer is? It is the most banned map against the Rebellion and happens to be the 3rd best statistical map for OXG this stage as well. So if we do make it to Layer, which by the way was a rhetorical question for those that are curious, it's just me setting Jesse up to finally comment. Layer will be fireworks between these teams, or so we hope. We'd hope that map 3 would be fireworks between M80 and SSG. That is not what came to pass. It was still an exciting series overall, but sometimes we can look at teams and say, oh, this would be a great matchup, and it does not come to be that way. Forrest is in. He's at the halfway point, not taking any damage whatsoever. Glass of Yaga covering, and a Nitro Cell from Rexon will stop that in its tracks. Grixer assumes the position and will immediately attempt another plant. My God, that's some quick tempo from OXG. But flames and fire from the Goyo canister stops Grixer from doing what he does best. Now he has to vacate the premises, and I think that rush has been stalled enough where OXG will have to attempt something different.
Came damn close, though. I mean, that Monty almost got the job done. It was a really good-looking rush, but the one and only Nitro Cell being played by SR was able to stop it. Huge play by Rexon. Now they rotate over the east stairs. Gomez finding Canadian, pushing through the smoke and finds the head. Perfect shot, but the trade from Rexon. He's got 2 kills now in this round and is hunting for a 3rd. The other side of this wall will be Grixer, holding the fuse kit too, so he's got a lot to be worried about. Soft barricade stalls the advance for now, and I think in the 3v4, Oxygen have been left a little bit worse for wear.
It's the halfway point of the round or just past it, where now OXG have to figure out next steps. Their best and strongest weapon was that Monty who jumped through the window, but got within a nanosecond of getting that diffuser down. I'd be kicking myself if I was Forrest in that position. Grixer are now taking some damage. The Rebellion just waiting ever so patiently. Focus for OXG is over towards that staff room, break room. Now it's Adam underneath 90. He's got Yaga nearby. Yaga takes down Ambi and Spoit, that bearing 9, accounting for 4 of his 5 kills. I don't know what it is with that thing in his hands, but it's an operator killer, that's for sure. Yaga jumps through the Surya gate, gets down, and then killed by Spoit's Razor Wire. An odd sequence of events as it now leaves the last 2 players from OXG scrambling to get to the site. Rexon's 3rd kill, potentially a 4th here now as Adam walks through metal detectors over by beepers. And with very little time left, if he doesn't find these 2 kills, that's curtains on the round. The Rebellion get the job done with Rexon picking up kill number 4. Spoit had a 4K. His ace was denied by Rexon. Rexon gets a 4K and his ace is denied. From who? I honestly don't know. But it doesn't matter because the Rebellion tie things up on another incredible round between these teams.
Ridiculous round. Again, start to finish. You'd be forgiven if you didn't remember that it was actually the initial rush with the Monty this round. So many things ended up happening. We saw that early rush come through, and I thought that Grixer was going to be able to stick the plant after the Monty died, but he opted not to, instead trying to find fights over around the map instead. I wasn't sure how likely that was to work out, but once Yaga started clicking heads, I thought, okay, never mind. OXG have got the sauce, and they're going to be able to pull this one back, right up until Yaga vaults through a Surya into barbed wire, which he was already low HP from one of the gunfights that he took, so it was enough to get the insta-kill onto him. Just shenanigans and so much going on in that round. But the one thing that was consistent from start to finish, you said it, was Rexon. Critical nitro to deny that first plant. Critical play in the late round to pop off. Really good stuff coming out from Richie, one of the most talented players on Shopify Rebellion. It was after yesterday's big win over Dark Zero when Rexon tweeted, and I quote, "Hello Kitty this, Hello Kitty that. Say hello to this kitty." Cat emoji at Surf. What do you think he meant by that, Parker?
How do I go back in time and cut off my ears?
I think that would be a weird thing for him to mean with that big
No,
tweet.
that's not what he meant. That's me saying, what a terrible day to have ears.
Reloading, cover me.
Was it Sweater who was playing on this exact same team? Well, it was OXG technically. And he wore like a cat collar one day and cat ears or something like that. Look, when you hear people say that esports players need more personality, not like that. Just please not like that. It's just anything but that.
What do you got against the cat ears, Parker?
I do think they're kind of nice. I think they're kind of funny.
I think it adds a nice extra dimension to SR. Okay, they're not so serious. They can have little cute moments.
Rexon is giant. He's like 6'5". He's a big boy, and he's wearing cat ears? He's a whole ass man. Shopify Rebellion get 2 quick kills, by the way. Down goes Adam. A 3rd will follow as now Forrest is in the grave. Gomez and Yaga. All that OXG has left for the final minute and 40 seconds. Canadian and Ambi still searching for kills. Held off of the score sheet so far through these 5 rounds. Canadian, that's fine. Ambi, maybe a bit more damning. Spoit about to do another quad kill, as he's got 3 to his name. He had a quad kill to start things off. What is he able to do against Yaga now? 9 kills for Spoit. The depth on the Rebellion so far today has been excellent. Ambi dropping 0 kills at this point in time would usually be a concerning sign, but not when there are 17 kills spread out across Rexon, Spoit, and Surf. 1 minute to go now for Yaga to plot his advance, as he doesn't have the diffuser and doesn't have much hope, as every single player of his opponent's team is still alive.
If Yaga wins this, it'll be the greatest clutch I've ever seen. I'll tell you that, Parker. It would require some massive throws from SR. That's the first.
Wound up looking for more, but I mean, hey, you got Surf. He had the lowest HP of these players. There's not much left to Spoit either, as Yaga flashed himself very briefly walking into A. He's being watched by a bulletproof camera as well, Jesse. There's really not much for him to do. He'll take some of that information away, but the diffuser is being guarded as Spoit does end up getting a quad kill. His 2nd quad kill in this game. Great round for the Rebellion, and Spoit has really shown up to be a big player I know that there were some doubts about his abilities because the way he's played in both stages, being a bit quiet behind some of the newer stars on the side of the Rebellion, but just like we said of Fultz in those SSG games, Spoit is a big game player, and when the pressure's the highest, he tends to perform the best.
Yeah, Spoit comes into this day as the kill leader in the North America League, 127 frags entering this match. I would guess somebody on SSG or M80 probably stole it temporarily from our last BO3, but Spoit probably on track to steal it right back, depending on how long the game goes. Been playing fantastic so far today and forced the tack timeout out of Oxygen. You know, if you were a critical analyst, you could look at the 3 rounds that SR have won and say, listen, every round they've won has come off of big individual plays. It was a 4K from Spoit, then a 4K from Rexon, then a 4K from Spoit. They have only won the rounds where one player has popped off and had a big moment. But I would kind of counter that by saying, well, listen, you're Oxygen. You chose Border. This is the map where individual skill shines the brightest. And there's no doubt in my mind that Oxygen are incredibly talented players. But SR have some of the most deadly shooters in this game. You go from Ambi to Rexon to Spoit to Surf. That's 4 ridiculous gunners on this team who, on their day, I don't think will lose to anybody else in the world. If they're shooting at the top of their level, they're just so talented like that. Oxygen have had some huge games throughout this stage and have had some really impressive moments. I think Adam has proved himself to be one of the most underrated players in the world, let alone just the NAL. But you start to ask yourself, is it going to be too much playing against SR on this map? I don't know.
Seconds left before insertion.
There's always questions to be asked when we see the map pool, and I mean, there's just always idle speculation on our part. The real postmortem happens after, obviously, we found out who wins and who loses, and then we can dive in. And when we've been at live events and, you know, we've looked at map pools, I've had other coaches tell me, like, oh boy, I can't believe how badly they got fleeced. And then the team will win, and you'll be like, well, I thought you said they got fleeced. There's a reason why these games are actually played in the server and not just on paper, right? I know that we say this from time to time, but it really is true. Teams will deliberately sandbag certain maps or will hide certain maps or ban certain maps so you think that they're not practiced on it. In all reality, they've been scrimming it against teams that just simply aren't talking about it or revealing it, and then they show up, they play like gangbusters. So right now, the Rebellion with the upper hand, but again, they started on the better side. Expect there to be like a 4-2 scoreline. A 3-3 would be good news for OXG, and they've just got a leg up with Yaga walking in and destroying Spoit upstairs. All 10 of his kills not available for the Rebellion.
It's been a great map so far from Evan Nelson, better known as Yaga. 7-3 now to start things off, and a clinical clear of Spoit. Not maybe a traditional entry fragger on this team, but can get the job done when it's required of him. Logic Bomb goes out to try to find a second kill, or at least clear through this top floor. Ambi was the only player, and still is, up on the top floor playing with Spoit. He's just playing inside lockers. He's likely got the hatch open to drop down if he does receive too much pressure. Sitting on a mute jammer too, so might be trying to just rat up here for a while and go for a late round flank. OXG, based on current positioning, don't seem too eager to clear that, and it also doesn't seem like they're aware that there might be a player still playing lockers.
Don't know if they drone this all out. It's Ambi in that position. I mean, Ambi doesn't have any kills, so maybe he's not the secret weapon that you're hoping for. He does get droned out and now has to drop, and immediately takes Gomez down for his first kill, but he's lost some of his forces as Canadian on that pulse, still without a kill himself. The only player in the lobby without one at this point is now dead. But the good news is you can just see him cycling through cams. He and Spoit will be calling from the same room in the Shopify head offices. Now discovery time for OXG. Final round of the first half. 35 seconds on the clock, and the Monty of Forest about to drop. He needs to pick the right direction lest he gets splattered by one of these defenders. Rexon to the rescue, takes down Grixer. He's got some soft walls in front of him. Ambi dies at the hands of Yaga. Surf eliminating Yaga, so trading right back. Forest's only protection is Adam. 2 players still upright, and Adam's gone. Now it's Forest in a 1v2. 10 seconds left. He will have to secure Rexon and will now attempt the defuse. Surf drops. Forest at the halfway point. Running around. Will he get off the plant? No! Surf gets there in time. Forest taken out with the currents. And Damon will surf to victory. 4-2, the very first half of map 2. The Rebellion 3 rounds away from a trip to the Munich Major.
Big clutch coming up from Surf. Again, some huge rounds from Rexon as well. Full team effort from SR. Didn't necessarily have the man count in that one. Lost Spoit early, but once again, it's not just the Spoit team. Everybody can pop off. Really good to be able to control the pacing of that round. Ambi not getting over aggressive too early, going for a flank. It wouldn't have gone well for him. He plays passive and still gets rewarded with some big kills. Massive from Rexon inside the site too. Just excellent crosshair placement, excellent movement, excellent shots coming out from him. And then again, Surf clutching up the 1v1 up against the Monty, sends his team to attack. And Surf currently the best attacking player in the North America League, a 163 KDR. That comes after going plus 14 on the attack versus Dark Zero yesterday. His offensive side has by far been the better of the two from him. So it's going to get even tougher if we see Surf start to heat up, combined with Rexon and Spoit shooting. OXG will need to find some strong answers on the defense.
Adam is being held to a very, very respectable KD by this Rebellion team, by the way. I want to change up the language a little bit because it's not that Adam is having an off day, it's that he's facing really tough competition. Competition that is excelling. Adam is having to deal with the Giants on the side of Rebellion. Adam is 8-10 so far today. A far, far cry from his 104 kills and 58 deaths in the group stage in the regular season. That's a plus 46 KD, far and away the best in the league, and was the first player by my count to break 100 kills, and did so without needing a best of 3. Most of the other players that have eclipsed 100 kills at this point competed in 2 to 3 maps yesterday, so that obviously gives them a major advantage. Adam is really not adding his stats though, Jesse. Like, this is a golden opportunity for him to climb to the top, and well, he's struggling.
Yeah, again, I mean, against any opponent, Adam has been the star from Oxygen. It's been crazy how good he is. You can't overstate it, but 4-4 so far. Not quite where we're used to seeing him. On defense, he could shine. He's the best defensive player in the North America League. Currently a 2.0 defensive kill-death ratio, which is kind of insane given how large that sample size is. 9 best of ones. Him versus Surf could be a huge battle in this matchup, but going through util is going to be the first job. Get these castle barricades down, get your way through the map, and without Ambi, it's going to get even more difficult.
Yeah, I don't love this for the Rebellion, but I will say that Ambi has not really been a huge contributor to their success, whether it be in terms of kills or utility. Ambi has been a passenger for much of this series, or at least much of this second half, aka map number 2. Ambi is positive on the day, even with this current gulf between kills and deaths. And his numbers are still pretty good. Crickster gets slaughtered by Rexon, who walks in and eviscerates 2 separate players. A third was not far removed. The Rebellion just so good at bouncing back from losing early. Down goes Canadian as Surf will immediately trade out Yaga. He's got a blind, but he misses the castle. Gomez and Forrest still standing tight, as it's Rexon now to save the day. He was superb at the start of this round. What can he muster against the last 2 players? Expecting one to push up main stairs, testing his mettle against the castle, but Gomez will win the deal and take him out. OXG not letting the Rebellion run away with this one. A great answer to them in this first round of the second half.
Something I thought OXG were doing a really good job of, aside from the first round, was getting control of security. It's something that they did really well in rounds 2 and 3. Some of the rounds where they were able to shut down Spoit, who was often playing that position. But now the Rebellion doing much the same thing. Really clean clear of security. Surf did a great job jumping in, taking out Yager from that position. Big kills from Gomez in the midst of that round as well. And then with just Rexon alive, it's tough to play yourself out of a hole like that. Shows that OXG are going to stay competitive now, okay? We are going to see them battle back on these defensive plays, making sure that they can stop some of this fast aggression from SR, even if they can get important map control. We get a quick timeout as well coming through as a tech pause has hit the server.
Yog Dog having some issues with connection. There have been some widespread internet issues. I know that a couple servers were getting hit because that's just how things go these days. So we will eagerly await the Yog Dog to get back into the server. Teams are not supposed to be able to talk to each other during these tech pauses. So I'm not really sure if admins monitor the situation in their respective voice servers that they use or not. I mean, Spoyd and Canadian are in the literal same room. So how do you police that? Well, you have to sit in the room of silence.
Yeah, I think it's generally fine online, and you can't really do much about it. I know even on LAN, the admins will allow players to talk about random things, just not strategize for the game. Can often be a big difference maker there. We got Canadian on our screen right now, who of course is going to be trying to lead the team of SR to make it to Germany. The last time we had an event in Germany was, of course, the Berlin Major.
Oh, who won that?
Canadian, that was Spoyd.
Spoyd won it himself.
That was Spoyd all by himself, winning 1v5 in the Grand Finals versus FaZe Clan.
Wow.
Canadian wasn't there because Canadian got denied the Berlin Major on round differential. That was when we qualified major spots just based on the group stage. There were no playoffs. He was on Dark Zero back at the time. And in that stage, Year 7, Stage 2, the last team Canadian lost to have that negative round diff ended up being OXG. So gate kept a little bit the first time Germany was on the field. Could happen once again, but it would require a real comeback from Oxygen, not just down 4-3 here on map 2, but the third map as well, where I will remind you is Lair, a place that SR are extremely comfortable on.
5 seconds left.
Set up and ready to blow.
It's a good map for both of these teams.
Attackers are heading out.
I said it earlier, it's the third highest rated map for OXG through these most recent group stages. It's the best map statistically for the Rebellion. They've actually had a band against them 8 times. They played it against Envy 2 weeks ago on September 24th, and which was one of Envy's losses when Envy had a role in the top 6 and looked to be one of the favorites. I think you even said that there's no team that had amassed so many points at such a point in time that had failed to make the playoffs, and Envy broke that streak. And I mean, it all really does come down to strength of schedule. Envy's schedule was front-loaded with bottom-tier teams, and when they had to contend with the tougher opponents later, they just weren't able to rise to the occasion. I think expectations for Envy were a little bit higher than they should have been. This was still a team that had finished dead last in the previous stage and had some stuff to work out. No denying that there was progress and growth on their side. This iteration of Envy does look much stronger, but not strong enough for the top 6 for their fans. Eager to see what Envy does in the offseason. There's a long period of time between now and qualifiers for the 6 Invitational that'll be coming up.
Yep.
So
SLI qual's coming up soon.
It'll be fascinating to watch that. Adam takes down Surf, immediately traded out. Canadian finds kill number 1 in this map. Comes at a good time. Now down goes Grixer, and the Rebellion have a lead in numbers. Grixer and Adam gone. Now Diffuser getting planted by Canadian, who's on no shield. He's taking some serious damage from fire. He'll have to scoot away, sandwiched in between these 2 shelves. And might now actually have a bit of a safer position at this point in time. Gomez falls too. OXG attempting to get these 2 players towards the site. Can't slow down the actual plant, but there's a swing from Forest. The 2 team captains will do battle. Canadian comes out worse for wear. Forest still standing. Yaga now being tracked down by Ambi. That's very valuable information. That means only 1 player on OXG's whereabouts unknown, and Rexon and Spoyd will be trying to track Forest down as he makes his way through customs. Almost gets Spoyd, but nobody's been able to kill him so far. Yaga outduels Ambi, but the timer just continues to run away, Jesse, and it is rough going for this OXG team. Down goes Rexon. Yaga might have some time. No, I think he hopped on it a bit too late. Spoyd, can you see him? Spoyd, can you see him? Will he get it in time? Does Yaga get it? Oh my God!
What?
A nail biter for Oxygen. A misplay by SR, and OXG have won an incredible round.
I'm watching this back on 0.25 speed. How late was that, Parker? I'm seeing 0.3, 0.2, less than 0.0. What? 0.02 seconds left on the round when that disable finishes. 0.02. I don't know if I've ever seen a disable go off that close to the wire. That is absolutely ridiculous that Yaga just won a round like that. Never in my life has it gotten that close. Spoit just unable to get the angle fast enough. He surely thought there was no time. We thought there was no time, but Yaga, pros don't fake. 0.02, 1/50th of a second, making the difference in that round and tying the game for Oxygen. That's absurd.
I'm dumbfounded, absolutely dumbfounded. Both of those 2 rounds, I thought, all right, well, the Rebellion have a really great shot at winning this. And even last round, I was like, there's no way Yaga had time. Spoit was a little bit too passive. He didn't want to push it. With the clock being the way it is, Spoit should have been more aggressive. Even if he loses that engagement, it forces Yaga off of the defuse kit. With 10 seconds left, you simply have to take the man. Amazing play by Yaga. Misstep by Spoit, it happens.
Yeah.
But what a result. And if the Rebellion end up losing this map, that round will be watched and played and dissected over and over and over again.
That'll be in the nightmares for sure tonight if SR don't lock in a spot to Munich. Gotta put it behind them for now, though. I mean, the game has still got plenty more rounds ahead of it. We are on pace for a 15-rounder here, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's going to require both teams locking in and digging deep. This top floor clear is going to be, of course, the main objective. Bomb sites up just below Armory Lockers and Archives. It's going to be just inside Vent's workshop. Here comes the first Lion charge, and the first couple of kills, Gomez gets downed immediately, answered back by Yaga, though.
Yaga has been fantastic so far for this team. He's middle of the pack in terms of rating. He gets finished off, and the Rebellion are very quick to correct from the previous rounds. I mean, you have to fear this OXG team, though, when they're battling from their back foot, because they have done that now 2 rounds in a row. The Rebellion just losing their grip on this map. You cannot tilt. You have to keep your head in the game. Rexon and Spoit now combining for 22 kills, both sitting at 11. That's quite the tally. You got to spread some around, because if Rexon and Spoit are in the ground, Shopify Rebellion don't have the same offensive threats in the remaining 3. Surf playing a little bit farther back than what we saw from him in the previous map. A minute to go. Forrest on the run out. Rexon gets jumped on. Grixer goes for a run out too. Well coordinated. OXG have both players jump out at the same time, and the Rebellion are just not able to match this aggression.
I like this from Canadian. Get a drone out there, right? Search for these players. You had over a minute. Now it's slightly under, but information, time is your friend. You got to use these tools once you can. The Goyos will soon be running out, and Canadian can start the plant. They won't have smokes to go under, but can still make some space with those frags and try to get into a spot that can't be denied. Critical for Surf to have good coverage.
They just need to wait now. The Blackbeard will encroach upon Forrest, who's pushed off of this position. He's finished off by Canadian, who's starting to heat up. He'll have no choice, as it's Canadian and Surf now, with Grixer, the last one standing. He's given up the ghost, though, with that Boss G. Pulled, missed his shot, outduels Canadian. Another clutch to be had for OXG, perhaps. He has no idea where Surf has gone to. The best vanishing act that you can ask from this Shopify Rebellion player. Grixer concealing himself to drones now, ascending the stairs, looking for a stare down against Surf, but he misses the Boss G shot, and Surf gets the job done. That could have been yet another round dropped by the Rebellion, but they will regain the lead. 0.02 seconds difference between this being a 5th round win and this being series point for the Rebellion. You cannot dwell on what happened, but man, oh man, you must be frustrated by it. Honestly, good poise by the Rebellion, but OXG is just, they're squeezing you for dear life every round.
These are not easy victories from SR. I mean, of course, the scoreline's very close, but even the rounds that they are winning have come either off of some big individual moments early on in their defenses, or here on their attack, it's been nail biters every single time. I thought this was an amazing play by Surf. He got up those metal stairs so quickly. Grixer had no idea. And if the 90 default cam wasn't up, I don't think Grixer would have ever realized that he had gone up top to play the hatch above the defuse kit. It was really well played by Surf. Maybe him retreating so quickly was part of the reason why Canadian died on the Blackbeard, but if there's one golden rule on Shopify Rebellion, it's that Canadian dying for a round win is absolutely worth it. Rely on that pretty often when he's trying to get the plant down or in any of the other circumstances where he dies, but it results in victories, it results in winning. Surf played that expertly, both in terms of when he took that gunfight up top and getting to the top floor as well. Anybody's game still, but if players are starting to come alive, again, the best attacking player versus the best defending player, Surf versus Adam, I still feel like that's going to be the difference maker. Which one of those two can show up and shine the brightest?
I'm loving the depth here that we are seeing, and I mean, God help us if we go to map number 3. There is still another best of 3 to be played today. Jesse and I, for the sake of our vocal health, will not be casting it. That will be Lynx and XR Troika taking you through what will be the upper bracket finals. Space Station got there in their matchup against M80 some hours ago. They are waiting for the winner of this bout. There will be a brief pause between those two matches just for the winner here to catch their breath, but it's business as usual and no real rest for OXG or SR. One of these teams will be in action later today. The other will go down to play up against Wildcard. Their hopes not fully dashed, just not realized yet. Wildcard and DZ sit in the lower bracket because of their results yesterday. They still have a shot, both of them, of making it to Munich. Winner here goes through. First kill came out from OXG. Spoit answers back immediately, finds another. He takes down Grixer. He's got the Goyo trapped as well. Down goes Yaga. This is why Spoit was such a highly coveted player and why he was brought over to the North American shores. Now it's Adam asserting himself, getting to the bomb site, finished off by Spoit, who's got a quad kill. That is Spoit's 3rd quad kill this game. He doesn't have an ace yet. 3 quad kills. The Rebellion put that one away. This game could be over, yet it is not. One more round for the Rebellion. They succeed, they'll be North America's 2nd representative for the Munich Major.
Listen, I made a YouTube video about 5 months ago titled, "I found every ace Spoit has ever had." It was a pretty good video. Spoit ended up watching it on stream, and I think he's just aware of the fact that he doesn't want me to have to remake that video so soon. Imagine if I had to add 3 more aces. I mean, it would extend the video by at least another 10 minutes. So keeping it to 4 is really appreciated, at least on my workload. And so whether it's him getting the 5th or somebody on SR, I mean, they are still dominating in these rounds. Spoit is now jumped up to 15 and 6. Feels like the early game just doesn't matter sometimes, Parker. Yaga can get the opening pick. Feels like something can go wrong on the side of SR, but they're so deep, doesn't matter. Talks about Surf being the best attacking player. He clutches a couple of 1v1s over the last few rounds, and then he's the opening death in round 10? Wow, doesn't matter. You've got Spoit. Spoit ends up being the opening death? Doesn't matter. You got Rexon. There's always somebody to fall back on.
Look, I will not sit here and tolerate you besmirching the good man's name, okay? Spoit is a job creator. Spoit announced a $50,000 tournament for T2 players on LAN here in North America. He's a job creator. He's creating jobs. He's creating opportunities. He created an opportunity for you to farm his abilities for content that he then used to farm content himself by watching it. It's really quite circular.
It's the circle of life.
It is, isn't it? It's like a snake eating its tail. He had an opportunity to create more work for you, which can be good or bad. Either way, there'll be highlight reels done about his performance here. 15 kills for Spoit. He's been great in these group stages. He's been even better in the playoffs. You'll need something big out of him. Surf is down for the count. Surf, the statistical best player on the Rebellion through the group stages. But he's been dealing with tough opposition against these defenders. Canadian baited into a hail of gunfire, triangulated, killed, That's a numbers advantage for OXG that gets cut by 1 as Ambi gets on the board.
Big round from Gomez, though, and he's teammates
They're
helping
everywhere.
him out. Yeah, they really are. This has been a rough round for SR to get into the building. The Nitro started it off. Gomez has continued. Yog up to 14. I mean, no matter what happens, it feels like they're stumbling. Spoit and Ambi, the last 2 alive, try to clutch this up. They can get the diffuser, and they can get the kill too. Adam goes fishing and finds nothing. So this 2v3, it's just gone from very, very difficult to maybe possible.
Definitely possible when Spoit is still on the board. He's got 1 kill. 1 kill happened that wasn't his. That means a quad kill is still available by my mathology, Jesse.
That's true. Your math lines up.
Somebody asked me on the subreddit in between games, they're like, what is mathology? And I was like, mathology is numbers, and numbers are hard, So
That's fair.
OXG just needs to sit and wait, though. And the longer that this timer continues to tick down, the better it suits this defender squad. Ambi and Spoit are doubled up in similar positions. Utility now being used as Spoit is looking for the all clear to walk into the bomb site. He will find it. The Guzmat mine goes off. He takes down Forrest, immediately hits the EU1D, and Ambi takes his place. Gomez's position was given away as he sits on a mute jammer, and there's the attempt. Fire being done. They both get forced out of their position. Spoit's got a read. Takes down Yaga. No way, Jesse. No way he gets another one, right? 3 quad kills for Spoit. Almost gets a 4th onto Gomez. Diffuser goes down. Prolonging this round. Spoit has the read on Gomez's position. That DMR hits so strong. Ambi could get the kill. I don't think SR really cares. To go to Munich to punch their ticket to the major. They will do it. A 4th quad kill for Spoit, as the Rebellion are the 2nd team to go to the Munich Major.
Willie's heading back to the country where it all began, hunting for another major win. Oh, it's feeling so good if you're a fan of SR. Oxygen falls to the lower bracket. They'll have to play tomorrow for their final chance to make it to the major. That'll be a tough game up against Wildcard, but for today, SR are the victors. They move on to play Space Station Gaming in the upper bracket final. Can't celebrate too much, so they got to lock back in because there's another game to be played today, but win or lose that one, they should be feeling very happy about what they have accomplished.
Jesse, that's it for you and I. Lynx and XR Troika will take us through the upper bracket final when we come back after this break.
Mini, careful mini. Mini is, yeah, might hop through. I can come for you. Mini.
What
Yo, opposite cone, no, opposite cone. Opposite cone, opposite cone.
Yes!
Let's go!
That came ain't nasty.
That's a
Shout
good
out my
kill.
boy Uzi.
Good shit,
Way to
Willie.
bring that back, guys. Let's go.
Go, boys.
Yo, good shit, guys. I'm fucking proud of you. Good job.
Honestly, the correct celebration after what we've just seen from Shopify Rebellion. Incredible performance from the team, from the individuals too. But first off, Spoit, congratulations. You qualified for Munich. You guys are the 2nd team to be going, representing NA there. How are the emotions right now? Because everyone is pretty hyped.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just like overwhelmed. I really wanted to make this major like really, really bad because, I have plans to fly out my whole family and stuff, and they didn't go to Berlin last time when I won there. So I just, I'm just so happy that we qualified and the team is feeling great. I feel like we focus on our issues, and I think it shows,
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any pressure on your shoulders? You won Berlin, now you're going back to Germany to Munich. Is there any pressure that you have to win this one too?
I would have, put the expectations that high already, but we take it at a game at a time. But yeah, I'm just overwhelmed, happy, like I said, yeah.
I was going to say,
Well, I had a follow-up. I was just going to say, there's very few teams that have enough mental strength to be able to start out essentially in the, not have the best stage. You guys come into playoffs, you guys win your first game, you guys look like a completely different team than at the start of the stage. How has the progression fixed itself? How have you guys been able to correct all of the mistakes throughout the regular stage?
I mean, during practice, like, you know, Seth and Troy has been very hard on us, like, because, you know, our entry game, like, during the group stage, like, we were piss poor. Like, honestly, we were super bad.
True.
I was not doing good. Ambi was not doing good. Rexon was not doing crazy on the entry either. So, like, we just had to work on the attacks a little bit because we always know, like, we are nasty on defense. So we just had to fix the attacks. And now that we have, you know, locked in and finally fixed it a bit, looking way better.
Well, to Fox's point of obviously being able to now make Munich, obviously you won Berlin. I would say your performance, clearly you wanted to make this major and put yourself there. I mean, what? That was 4 4Ks, 3 4Ks throughout that game. I mean, that last round in particular, I mean, I kind of want you to run me through it. Granted, I don't know if we have the clip to be able to talk about it, but when you're in that moment where you need to claw that back, I mean, you've clawed back a lot of rounds actually with Troy in 2v4 situations, but what's going through your head in each one of those clutch moments where you know you can bring it back?
Well, since I play the kind of the baiter position on border, I play outside archives. You know, you see other players like, you know, NGR play there, Felix Pox play there. Oh yeah, this is the clip, yeah. So we had a drone actually on the guy on the mini door right there, and I seen this guy vault into mini right before. And then the last kill was like, yeah, let's just double swing together. So it's just good, yeah. Info, team play, 3-2-1s. What else can I ask for?
Are you thinking much in those situations, or is it mostly just, you know, fight or flight, you know, just fluid motions?
No, it's like you say, it's like fight or flight in a way. But it's also, you know, being calm. I think that's something I've worked on personally, and I felt like way more locked in. Because I felt like the pressure got to me a little bit throughout the group stages, and now during playoffs, I've been addressing it personally a little bit, and it's been helping me a lot, and I've been able to like fully lock in. So it's been good, yeah.
One more follow-up question. How is it playing best of threes compared to best of ones?
Oh yeah, I mean, finally, the best of 3 curse has been lifted. People were calling us best of 1 merchants or whatever. Shit, that might be M80 now, bro. I don't know. That might be M80. I'm looking at you guys. No, but jokes aside, we worked on our map pools that we didn't have before, right? So fix all the mistakes.
Congratulations.
Sure, maps, yeah.
Munich has been punched.
Yeah, you want to say that again?
Munich has been punched.
Either way, you guys still have one game to play, and that's going to be against SSG. Obviously, you have that momentum going on, as you mentioned it yourself. Everyone's super hype. You guys are really looking forward to this. You've already qualified for Munich, so to say, so the pressure maybe not necessarily there. But between now and when the game starts in, like, I don't know, a couple of minutes, what's the process looking like? What's your headspace at?
Personally, I need to hit the bathroom. Haven't hit the bathroom yet. Gotta make sure I get some hydration too. You know, shout to Shopify. They got snacks in the building, so I don't have to DoorDash anything. But yeah, just like rehydrate, just chill for a little bit. Yeah.
I think you might want to hold it. I mean, if you were been holding in going to the bathroom was making you drop 4Ks, the retention throughout the game. I think you might just want to hold off going to the bathroom just yet.
You might be right. You might be right. So I might have to try that.
Either way, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for the interview. Good luck with your next game against SSG. And who knows, we might see one of you guys around again for the interview.
Yeah, see you around,
Bye.
guys. Thank you very much.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Nah, y'all are all the same. Oh, gotta go to the bathroom. Literally, you sit down on the couch, you two, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, what is this?
Because you're staying hydrated, you know, you gotta go to the bathroom. I mean, I'm sure Canadian's gotta go to the bathroom. He's getting old. I don't know if his bladder can hold it.
That is, what?
Yeah.
Either way, that was really good from SR.
Yeah.
Individual stepping up to the plate. Everything worked out together. Why are you still laughing at your own joke? I don't get it. But they now have to go up against SSG. But before they do so, let's dissect a little bit everything that has went right for them.
Spoil.
Oh, I was going to say, I think one of the biggest things that even the casters were talking about is no matter what, you can't count on any single player not coming alive on the side of the Shopify Rebellion. I mean, whether it's Rexon getting a 4K, whether it's Spoit getting a 4K, whether it's Surf getting a 4K, whether it's Ambi getting a 4K, each one of these players have their moments each and every single time throughout every single game that we've seen. They all step up when they need to. Even if they're in a man disadvantage, they're able to claw back many rounds that we've seen time and time again throughout the stage, even through playoffs. I mean, the resilience clearly resides within the Rebellion.
Wow, Aura. That was good.
It's all like you got away with words, almost like you should consider yapping for a career.
You could do slam poetry. You could do that.
But either way, for Shopify Rebellion, a lot of things went right, and I'm not going to repeat whatever it is you said. But again, a highlight reel here for Spoit because he really wanted this win.
Yeah, I mean, speak about slam poetry. I mean, Spoit was just slamming OXG, and it goes to show that, yes, every single player can have very big performances, but I really believe you have to set them up into this field. So the strategy for everybody on SR to be able to play off of each other, set up Spoit in these moments, and then at that point, like he said, it's, you know, just flow state. You're not thinking too much about it. He's talking about this last clutch. He said they had a drone on the guy in Mini. He has the information.
Yeah.
All he has to do at that point is just put the crosshair where he knows the player is going to be, gets the kills, and I mean, he did it 4 times in that match, you know, to get 4Ks, so it goes without saying. The preparation to get in that situation is amazing. It's not just one player pulling a hat trick out of his hat, or hat trick rabbit out of his hat. It's essentially consistently getting those multi-kills because everything's set up in the moment for him.
Yeah, you should not be going into poetry, that's for sure. But either way, bracket in terms of how the games have been playing out.
We called it. We called it.
You did.
You know,
I
actually,
got
it's
cold
really
post.
interesting because when we were looking at the tier list, both of you put M80 and OXG in S tier, saying that there is a world where they're going to the finals. I mean, there is a world. Well, there will be a world. One of them will get eliminated into the lower semifinal. That is, if they win their games. But we have one more game today, and that is SSG against SR, as both of them have qualified for the upper final, looking to punch their tickets straight to the grand finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the biggest shocker was I'd say the Space Station M80 game, to see how well Space Station played throughout that. They realistically closed it out 2-0. I was a little worried for Oxygen coming into the Shopify Rebellion matchup just because of what we saw and what was demonstrated from Shopify Rebellion that is continuing through and through. So even going into this match against SSG, I think we're in for quite a showing, even if there's not much on the line outside of those SI points, but I believe both these teams are sitting pretty good in terms of those points.
There's very few teams mentally that can get top 2 and then confirm that final win out, because you're watching Shopify Rebellion, you're watching SSG play yesterday, and you're seeing them beat on the teams. It adds an element of just mental pressure, and that's what we see is those teams that can get top 2 when it comes to the regular stage in the best of ones.
It's a double-edged
If they
sword.
get overwhelmed, you're not practiced, you're not warmed up, but now those teams, you know, OXG and M80, even though they did lose, they still have the opportunity in the lower bracket, and now they've gotten their warm-up game in, and now they also have the weaker teams, DZ and Wildcard, to maybe beat up on to get, you know, their momentum going to potentially, again, play for top 1 in the stage, so.
But only one of the two can do that.
Yeah, but they could both make Munich.
Yeah, of course, that
but only
is
one
possible.
team can be number 1.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of like how
That's how it works.
math works, you know?
Hey, mathology. Numbers are hard. That's what Taro said.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna let you sit there in the awkward silence.
Slam
But
poetry.
but either. The fact is, competition is heating up here, but for those of you at home who are looking to squat up in a space that is made for you, Rally Point is a community for women in the Rainbow Six Siege scene. They're offering a fun competitive environment on PC across the US and Canada, so you can jump into weekly game nights, rack up some points, get onto that leaderboard, and compete in the Rally Cups every other Saturday. If you're ready to play, make sure that you join the Rally Point Discord, or you can head over to radiant.gg/R6 Rally Point to find out more about the competition.
Have you been playing?
Yes, I was waiting for you both of you to
Have
say
you
that.
been
I was
playing?
waiting for one of you to say it. No,
You're LFT?
I don't even reside in the whatever PC.
It's okay to be silver.
You
All
give
right.
him too much credit there.
Yeah, it might be bronze.
Do you guys want to maybe give some words of wisdom ahead of our final matchup today?
For Rally or for the teams playing?
For the teams playing.
For the teams playing, words of wisdom.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That was
so
a
wise.
curveball. I mean, honestly, okay. SSG, they got the opening kills. Shopify Rebellion, in my opinion, has the better clutch players. So,
Players or player?
players.
Yeah, it depends on who
players.
shows up.
Yeah,
but that's a scary thing, right? It could be either one of them.
I mean, I think they're both firing on all cylinders, so either way, it should be a good game. I think it's, again, where I said the first matchup was about momentum shift, now I think it's really going to be more on SSG's shoulders here to be able to reel it in, because SSG, I mean, not SSG, as we know, Shopify Rebellion, they've always been really good at controlling that tempo and controlling their own aggression, where we've seen SSG time and time again get overzealous in those matchups from what we've seen. So I think this matchup, not that I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on either of these team shoulders, because I'm sure they're just going to be riding that high of being able to now punch their ticket to the major, but it's more so of now solidifying yourself as number one and just getting one step closer. But again, it's still going to be a mental battle for both the teams.
It's going to come down to the map bans.
Yeah, I would actually, like, before we throw it to break, I would like for you guys to play rock, paper, scissors for who's going to do the match at hand. For those of you guys at home, there is a talking point match at hand before the match actually starts, where one of the two is going to have
Don't
to
say
take
one of the two. One does it.
I do it all the time.
It's one of the
I
two
do it all the time.
has to give a little bit of a summary before the game even
Rock, paper,
starts.
scissors, shoot.
And they both hate it.
Yeah.
So wait. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
On shoot,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Well,
Well,
I'm doing it.
It's about time. I do it all the time, you
do
know.
it every
Thankfully,
single
Lax
time.
is actually going to have to do it today, so.
this is what I have to deal with every single game. Either way, we're going to be heading over to a break, and we'll be back with Lax, who's going to be covering the match at hand. It's going to be Shopify against SSG. Both of them are qualified for Munich, but only one can punch a ticket straight into the grand finals. If you want to know who that's going to be, make sure you stick around, because we'll be back with that matchup after the break.